It used to be that somebody who had $20 million in business was doing really well. And occasionally you'd come across somebody who had more than that, 50 million. These days, we're seeing more and more partners who suddenly have 50 million, 80 million, 100 million. It's not just a matter of they've manipulated the numbers to make themselves look good. They truly have clients of that magnitude that if they walk out the door, those clients will follow them.
Hi, and welcome back to our Happy Rainmakers video series where point one can make a difference. Today, I'm really lucky to be joined by Blane Prescott, who is the managing shareholder and consultant over at MesaFive. Welcome, Blane.
Hey, Jennifer, how are you?
I'm great. I'm really happy to have you here because a lot of our viewers have so many questions about lawyer compensation and business development. And I know that you're an expert because I've had the opportunity to hear you speak a couple of times. So the one question that a lot of people have been asking me lately is if there are any trends that we can spot in partner compensation, either looking back at 2024 or maybe looking ahead to see what's going to happen in the rest of 2025 and beyond. Are you seeing any?
Yeah, there's a few different trends. Matter of fact, there's a lot going on with compensation right now, largely driven by the fact that law firms have been so incredibly profitable the last 3-4 years. Probably one of the most important trends is that the heights of compensation, just looking at how much the top rainmakers are earning, is going up and going up fairly dramatically. For example, we really saw the beginning of this economic upturn in 2020. It's the first year we ever took an AmLaw 100 firm that was not doing contingency work where we paid a partner more than $20 million. That was in 2020. And so the trend right now is that lots of law firms are realizing they have partners generating more business and more profits than ever before. And maybe our old compensation system is artificially hampering their compensation. So lots of law firms are now looking into the issue of what's the right level of compensation. And because these compensation levels are getting so high, that's probably one of the single most dominant trends in the profession. It's probably one of the issues that comes up most often for us these days.
I can imagine. What's the highest compensation you've seen so far?
Again, we tend not to work with firms that do a lot of contingency work. So on a straight hourly basis, probably somewhere in the range of about 40 to 45 million in a year. The numbers are just extraordinary. It used to be that somebody who had $20 million in business was doing really well. And occasionally you'd come across somebody who had more than that, 50 million. These days, we're seeing more and more partners who suddenly have 50 million, 80 million, 100 million. It's not just a matter of they've manipulated the numbers to make themselves look good. They truly have clients of that magnitude that if they walk out the door, those clients will follow them. So you actually have to start paying those people appropriately.
So I would imagine that is a trend away from lockstep compensation for partners.
Lockstep is largely dying away and dying away pretty quickly. The interesting thing is there's not that many true lockstep systems anymore. Even a lot of the firms that say they have lockstep, in reality, they may actually have some preset levels, but then that everybody hopefully rises to. But then they have super levels that only a few people can get to, or they have some levels where people get to them and then stop in their career. They never progress beyond that. So true lockstep where everybody automatically proceeds to the top, extraordinarily rare these days. I think for many law firms, just changing the basic core of their system, realizing that maybe some of the provisions that they've used in the past, for example, would be like probably one of the most common ones. Many firms have small steps in compensation. And what lots of law firms have discovered is that when those steps are really small, it actually, one, makes setting compensation harder, not easier. Two, it tends to make people more unhappy as opposed to if there are large steps between sequential levels. So again, we used to see law firms where the steps between levels could be 3%, 4%. Now you're seeing more and more firms make really big steps. So 8%, 9%, 10%. Those are pretty significant steps. That's probably one of the most pervasive trends that we see in the profession these days. We try not to spend a lot of time trying to predict the future because if you look at any studies about people who predict the future, they're barely above the level of random guessing. But if we saw the economy fall off next year, and there's certainly signs that that could happen. Whenever the economy falls off, and if we went into a recession, those are the times when we see the most significant changes in the economics, not just because law firms earn less, but it suddenly gives clients the power to control rates better than they have. And despite all the talk, clients being outraged about high billing rates are what are driving the profits in the profession right now. If there was a recession, this might be one of the few times when law firms suddenly find that their clients have the ability to cut back on billing rates. And the truth is, the overwhelming majority of firms have done extraordinarily well these last 2 or 3 years because of these extraordinary increases in billing rates. They're not changing leverage that effectively. They're not cutting back on their expenses effectively. They're not changing their realization. It's all rate driven. So that's probably one of the most important trends.
All right. Well, thank you very much. That was a really good insider view on partner compensation trends. Thanks for being with us today, Blaine.
Thanks. I appreciate it.